what you just saw me build is Ilmango's World Eater, and this is actually the second time I built it. I built it once already for my witch perimeter a couple of months ago, and it took me about 8 months to build it that time. This time it took me about 5.5. It's just a very repetitive pattern, and once you get a flow down, and having built it already, just the pattern of it just came right back to me, no problem at all, and it went really quickly. I was really happy with that. So this is all done. I've done a schematic verifier. There were a couple slime blocks that I missed and a couple of stone blocks that I used as scaffolding that I had to remove, but other than that, it's all verified up and it's good to go. But there's obsidian down in this perimeter, and I haven't done a test to find any of that yet, so I can be certain that there's some obsidian down there. So what worked really well last time was I used light manica, and I had a template. I just went into creative and created a template that was 288 blocks by 288 blocks, so the size of the perimeter, by 128 tall, of just air. Just go into creative and just take a template of air. I'll put the template in the description as well if you want to just use mine. And then if I turn that on, I've already done the placement. If I turn it on, it's an absolute lag fest because it's saying all these blocks are invalid because they're not air. And so let's turn that off. But I can actually do a schematic verifier while the placement is turned off. So I've already done that, and we can come down here and we can go to obsidian, which it's in reverse alphabetical order for some reason. And we got 38. But I'm only going down to y equals 12 because I've got most likely water-filled caves in here. And so if I go down to the lava lake levels of the obsidian, I'm probably going to have water-filled caves right above that lava lake, and that's what's caused the obsidian. I don't really want to have to clear out all those water-filled caves with sponges and whatnot. And also, I found last time that once you get into y equal 11 and below, obsidian just reforms all the time, and especially when I've got so much water up above, if I clear out the obsidian down at y equal 11, there's a good chance that more water is just going to flow right onto that. I'm going to have to clear the obsidian all out again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop at y equal 11. So I want to get rid, I can just let this machine get rid of the water-filled caves that are up above the lava lakes. Once I get down to y equal 11, then it can take out that obsidian and deal with that then. So you can actually see the caves through the world. And so looks like there's only 2 big spots that I need to remove. So let me go down and remove all that, and then we can start the World Eater. That should be fun. I mentioned this last time, but it definitely bears repeating that when you do find an obsidian like this, it actually makes a lot more sense to plug the water hole first and then deal with the obsidian. Otherwise, you might just create more obsidian. I actually had that happen last time. And with these lava lakes above y equal 11, I brought some gravel. I'm probably actually going to just remove the lava lake as well. I think that'll make things a lot easier to deal with in the future. Whenever I have a really complex machine like this, I like to download the world and try it out in single player mode, make sure that everything works before I actually do it on the server. And I'm really glad I did here because I have found a problem that is unique to the fact that we're in an ocean biome. I've got this water source right here that didn't get removed, or rather, I think it actually reformed when kelp grew up. So the water sweepers had already gone past that spot, the kelp grew and poked up. Oh, you can actually see it happen right here. This happened. And the water sweepers won't come back through again and remove that exact spot. So the TNT didn't blow up everything that was underneath the water, and then eventually the water sweeper hit the land, and we've got a broken machine. So I'm pretty sure I have to go through and remove all of the kelp in this entire area in order to avoid this problem. Sugarcane works pretty well as an oxygen source, by the way, so I can place it down here. It's got to be on sand, obviously, and the sand needs to have water on one side of it, but it's a very useful way to save me from having to go up for air constantly. So I can't place it right there on this block because there's not water next to it, but I can place it on these blocks over here and get air that way. So that's been pretty useful. I think I got most of it, but I want to make sure that I got it all. So I can use the same Lightmatica trick. I've already rerun the schematic verifier. Let's go down and find the kelp. Yeah, there's still quite a few here, so we can just click them all. 164. That's a grouping. And let me go and get rid of all this kelp, and then we should be good to go. I'm going to run another test after this. Yep, still quite a bit of kelp left to go. So my testing discovered this little structure right here, which has a waterlogged chest in it. Normally chests can just be blown up by the TNT, but a waterlogged chest cannot be blown up with TNT and it cannot be moved. So we've got to get rid of that. Other than that, I think everything's all good for us to launch. So you've been back at your base breeding turtles, huh?
Yeah, it's actually really crazy. So I'm really happy with how that produced. But
I've been over here building a machine to eat the world.
so in the time I built a turtle farm,
It took a little
this
longer to build this than it did for you to build the turtle farm.
this is how you use your time.
Yeah, yeah. I like building stuff like this. This stuff is fun.
It looks like something. It looks like it's gonna grind.
It kind of is.
I see two. Wow, this is. I've not seen anything this cool. I mean, when I joined the server, you'd already made your witch perimeter, so I didn't get to see this part of it.
Well, now you do. That's why I figured you'd want to come along and see this. Do you want to actually be the one to launch it?
Oh, you're gonna give me that kind of responsibility?
I
Oh
mean,
boy,
it's pretty easy.
absolutely, absolutely.
So just come on down here and see if we can actually land in the right spot. We're aiming for right over here. Boom. Can you land where I landed?
I'm trying. Hang on. Blink.
Close.
No, no, no,
No.
nope. I thought there wasn't a hole under that, but
Man, I had a pro landing and you biffed it.
okay. I biffed it.
Yeah. Oh, there you are. Okay. And then now we can drop down here.
Okay.
And all you got to do is remove that redstone block right there. We're actually ready to run.
So this redstone block on the far side.
This one
It's
right
got a
here. Yeah.
got a piston extended.
Yep.
All right. It's gone.
And there it goes. And
OD.
oh,
Oh
yep. Yep. Oh dear is right. Yeah. And then I'm making sure that all the water sweepers. Ooh, lag.
Oh yeah, that's good. It's good lag.
Wow, it's going really slow.
What'd you do?
I don't know. It's just like seems like it's going really, really slow.
On my side, it says we've got a 200 MSPT.
Really?
Yeah, that's probably due to my internet lag combined, though.
I'm seeing 155.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
I wonder why it's doing that.
I don't know. The server is actually pretty fast. It should be able to handle this.
Watch this.
That's pretty sad.
That's hilarious too at the same time because we get the extra particle in time of it being in the air.
So it turns out our server had not been restarted in a while, and now that I've restarted it, everything is going a lot faster, a lot closer than what you'd expect to see. Not nearly as much lag. That is much better, and now it won't take 24 hours for this thing to complete. So I'm glad I restarted it. That made a huge difference. Everything looks pretty good so far. So I did actually have to stop the machine once. I had a newly formed obsidian block show up and it took out one of my sweepers. I had to replace the sweeper and then I started the machine up again. I decided not to interrupt the time lapse for that, but what I did before starting the machine up again was I actually went through and I removed all the lava that was above Y level 11. There's actually not that much, and I think I'm going to do that in the future as well. Whenever I do world eaters like this, there's just not that much lava above Y level 11, and it's if you get rid of it, it stops newly formed obsidian from causing problems. And now that we're down to Y level 11, you can see why I didn't want to deal with this ahead of time. We've got these ravines here that this is the bottom of a ravine. This was water all the way up to the top of the ocean. So there's no removing that water before we got down to this point. At this point, I should be able to just sponge it out and then I can get rid of this obsidian. But before this point, that would have been very, very difficult. And there's a whole bunch of them. This is actually going to take quite a while. There is a lot of obsidian around here because we decided to do this in an ocean. So that's on us. There were about 3,000 obsidian blocks in this area. Most of this area that you see lava, there was obsidian underneath of. It was just a massive amount. It took Asta and I several hours to remove it all. So add that to the list of reasons why you don't want to build a perimeter inside of an ocean biome. But it's done. We're ready to go now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to remove this redstone block. And then I'm going to place it right back. And that'll allow it to run one time and then come back and then it'll stop again. And then I'm going to have to check for obsidian again. I don't expect there to be a lot of new obsidian, but there's lava basically everywhere. So anywhere that I uncover water is really likely to create new obsidian. And just one obsidian block is going to cause a problem. So I don't want to have to deal with that. So we're going to just check every time. Give it a couple more seconds to put the redstone block back. And then I'll just keep doing this every time. It'll only take a few more times until it's done. But I think it's definitely better to check for obsidian after every other level rather than just having it destroy sweepers and stuff like that. And we've made it down to bedrock. And I didn't actually end up having any newly formed obsidian. I think one of the small benefits of being in an ocean biome is I didn't actually see any more water once we were down below the ocean water level. So small victories, I guess. So we've still got all these blocks that are down in the bedrock, and I need to get rid of these as well. And for starters, one of the things I want to do is I want to actually drop this flying machine a couple more times to make sure that right now it's going to just barely blow up just at this level, and I want to make sure it goes down as far as possible. So what I need to do is I need to come over here, and I did this last time as well, where you can actually scaffolding on up to this next section here where we got this redstone block right here, and I'm going to remove that, and it's going to launch the flying machines. And then I actually want to drop it down another block because when I send it back, that side's going to drop down a block and this side's going to need to be another block lower in order to receive it properly. So we'll just place a redstone block, remove it, and replace it again so that when it does come back here, it'll stop again. And then I need to do the same thing on the other side, and that should probably be low enough. And then we'll make some modifications to this after we're done with that. So these flying machines are triggered when they are pushed down. So this whole arm mechanism goes down, and when it does, this piston fires, pushing the flying machine down, and then that will send it on its way. And I could continue to fire it off that way, but eventually it would get so low that it would start blowing itself up. And I want to run this a decent amount of times to make sure that I've removed all the blocks from within the bedrock. So instead, I'm going to switch the takeoff station so that it's just firing off laterally. It detects when it docks, fires off some redstone, opens the trapdoor, and sends it off on its way again. I'm going to have to swap out the return stations as well. I'm going to have to do this all the way down the row. And then last time, I actually doubled up the number of flying machines. So I put one in between each of these. And I want to see if that's actually necessary. So I'm going to not do that first. And I think it probably will be necessary, but if it's not, it's going to save me a lot of work. So I'm going to try it without doubling up the flying machines first. I'm going to see if this number of flying machines, if I can just convert the takeoff and return stations, and that's it. And then hopefully that'll work. If not, I may have to double up the number of flying machines. So I got the bombers working, and I'm going to want to run these for quite a while because I want to use the randomness of the TNT to try and hit every possible block in this area. And while this is running, I wanted to do something else to beautify the area a little bit. I did some testing, and I discovered that I don't actually need these gravel walls anymore. And I discovered that I can use sea pickles in place of torches to break the entire wall in one go. So I'm going to do this to the whole wall all the way around. And we'll still have this stone down here. Ooh, that's a dangerous area for me to fly out of. But we'll still have the stone down at the bottom, but we should have a nice clean view of the ocean through the whole thing. And that should make it all look a lot better. And that should be a nice little touch to add to this area while I'm waiting for that to run. And there we have it. The flying machines seem to work pretty well without having to double them up. So that's great news. And I will remember that in the future. I ran them for several hours and I have not been able to find any blocks down in the bedrock whatsoever. So that's great. We removed all the lava, by the way, using buckets. We mostly just threw the buckets away. It's kind of a waste of iron, but it's a lot faster than using sand or gravel. So that worked really well as well. And being able to see the ocean just looks amazing. I'm really happy with that as well. So we've got ourselves a finished perimeter. And I can't think of a better place to end the episode, but that I've got to work on in creative. The slime farm itself is a fairly simple design, but I've got to set up an item handling system that's going to handle most likely over 500,000 slime balls per hour. So that should be fun. So I'm going to work on that between episodes, and then we'll work on setting this up in the next episode. And until then, I want to thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye now. Oh, and in case you're wondering, I am no longer Poseidon because there's no longer any water for me to conquer. And Astazora was working on a turtle farm because we're going to need turtle eggs for the slime farm itself. And if you want to watch a video of the last time I set up a perimeter, click the video on the right. If not, YouTube has picked another video for you on the left there. And I hope to see you again soon.